Hello, welcome to episode 94 of Three Things with JR. I've got no plan. I've got three things written down that I want to talk about. Three things. But I don't have anything written about them. I just know what's in my head. So here goes. First off, Scherzer. Scherzer, my dog, my boy. Had him about 6 years now. He's with me every day. Comes to work with me, rides around in my car with me. When I'm at home, he stays by my side. When I'm at work, he sleeps right there under my desk or next to my desk. Never lets me out of his sight. When I go play disc golf, I bring him with me. He's pretty much always off the leash, but stays right there with me. He always lays down on the tee pad. We'll have to have him move, but that's how close to me he wants to be. And he's a pretty great dog. I absolutely love having him around. And almost lost him the other day. On Sunday, I went to play disc golf. And when I pulled into the disc golf course, I look out my windshield, and there's a nice lady sitting there in the shade under a tree with her two dogs. And I thought, I wonder if I should put my dog on a leash. Probably don't need to. When I got out of the car, I let Scherzer out. He went and peed on the log he normally goes to pee on, which is nowhere near these two dogs. And one of these dogs, I didn't realize it when I first saw them, but one of them is a big, heavy-duty pit bull. And when he saw Scherzer, he decided Scherzer needed to be killed. And thankfully, he was not able to kill Scherzer. Scherzer is still alive. He is laying right next to me right now as I'm talking to you. So let me assure you, Scherzer is okay and is going to be fine. But he's going to have a rough few weeks. The pit bull attacked Scherzer, got him by the neck, and did that sort of death grip thing. There was a couple guys there that came to help. I was there. We were kicking the pit bull, one of the guys was punching the pit bull on his head. It took several minutes, but finally the pit bull let go. And I got Scherzer in the car. I got the lady's information, and I took him to an emergency vet where they stitched him up on his shoulder. They shaved all his hair off so they could see all of his bruises and stuff. And they x-rayed him, and they checked his lungs, and nothing was broken, nothing was punctured. They stitched him up. They've got a little drain in there in the wound so that it can drain, and he's got to wear a cone so he doesn't try to pull the drain out or tear his stitches out. But it's been 2 days now. He's heavily medicated and, doing really well, actually. Today was the first day I saw him multiple times actually putting weight on the leg that it has the stitches and stuff on it. Tonight I had to mow the grass. I was riding a zero-turn mower, and as usual, he didn't want to do anything other than ride on the mower with me. He didn't want to stay in the house. He didn't want to stay in my truck. I didn't want him to sit in the yard for fear that he might go running off after a squirrel or something and injure himself even worse. But he jumped right up on the mower with me, sat right there under where my legs go on the zero turn, and kept his balance really, really well for a dog with only 3 really useful legs at the moment. But he's kind of pitiful walking around with this cone on, and he's already adorable and kind of sad, but he looks even a little bit more pitiful now. The good news is antibiotics for 2 weeks. We're going to go get the drain taken out on Thursday, and the wound should be healing up. In fact, it's already healing up really, really well. So Scherzer should make a full recovery. And the lady whose dog it was, I feel for her. We've been texting back and forth. She's obviously very traumatized by the whole thing. She faces possibly having to put her dog down, her pit bull named Blue. She did self-report this to the animal control. I talked to them as well, and it sounds like they're actually not going to put that dog down. They're going to issue the lady a summons. She's probably going to have to go to court or pay a fine or something like that. I don't know how that's going to work itself out, but the lady is she obviously feels really bad. She's been texting me. She volunteers to take care of the vet bills, do whatever the authorities tell her, and all that stuff. So, I mean, it sucks that it happened, but she's taking responsibility for it. So, what more can I ask for? With Scherzer, I usually worry more about him being the aggressor with other dogs because he doesn't always like other dogs in his space. But in this case, he was clearly the victim of another dog. And so I wasn't expecting to be on that side of things with him. But yeah, that's what's going on with Scherzer. The lady texted me, and I want to read one of her texts to you because it was kind of funny. So her initial text, she was still quite emotional. It was only a few hours after the event. We kept texting the same day as I was sitting there waiting at the hospital, but she texted me that while she was when she left the dog park or the disc golf park, she went to the SPCA, and then she had to go to the gas station. And here's what happened at the gas station. I went to get gas while I was at the SPCA. The gas station attendant must have felt sorry for me. I was covered in dirt and was crying when I walked inside. The attendant was a young boy, told me to help myself to a free fountain soda. As I was getting a soda, he approached me with his marijuana pipe, told me to go smoke a bit, and he would pump my gas. He was so worried about me. I didn't smoke his weed, but thanked him. What a nice kid. He told me to come back if I need to. So, smart lady, probably, not smoking some kid's dirt weed, but clearly she's got some decisions to make with that dog, and I hope it all works out well, and I hope she's able to keep the dog under control and not allow anything like this to happen again, because it could have been significantly worse. Could have been a smaller dog. Smaller dog would not have lived through this attack. Scherzer was fighting the entire time, and it could have been a kid, something like that, which obviously would have been horrific, So anyway, if you have a dangerous dog, a dog you know is dangerous, and this lady did know her dog was dangerous, follow the rules, which is to have a muzzle on your dog when you're out in public. If this pit bull had a muzzle on, it would have been an entirely different interaction. So there you go. I guess you could think of that as thing one, just an update on Scherzer and all, but Scherzer's right here. He's doing okay. Thing number two, right before I sat down here to record, I was looking through my news and seeing all this stuff about the school shooting in Texas. And while this show is not really a place where I like to get into deep subjects that can be politicized like that, I mean, it's all I can think about now. And I don't normally get too emotional about, big events, even as horrific as school shootings, because they're mainly so far removed from my life. I don't have a strong opinion on guns. I don't know what the answer is to this, but I mean, how many school shootings or mass? I'm thinking of the recent one in Buffalo. There's been a couple since, and now this one today. And it's just something has to be done. I think we can't just have this be our daily news, where we just deal with that, right? Like, I mean, there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 19 people dead in this shooting in Texas. That's 19 different families that are putting to rest someone way too early, and we can't just be okay with that. Something has to be done. What I was reading was that President Biden thinks we should quit bickering in politics and enact some common sense gun laws. And there's a big part of me that thinks, absolutely, if we don't have the ability to make sure people that are buying guns legally have to jump through some hoops, it should be hard to buy a gun legally, waiting period especially. I don't have any idea if the person that did the school shooting in Texas got their gun legally, illegally, don't know. It's too early. I haven't read that many news stories, or maybe the facts just aren't out there yet. No idea. But If he did get it legally, would it have been prevented by some common sense gun laws? Maybe. Maybe this gun was purchased legally at a time when there was nothing to suspect about this person. Maybe it would have stopped it, maybe not. If this person got the gun illegally, common sense gun laws wouldn't do shit for that. So, and I think that's probably the case a lot of the time. So I'm pretty torn about this. Yes, enact some common sense gun laws to make it harder for people that have a tendency to be dangerous or have proven themselves dangerous or have proven themselves not a good candidate for owning a gun. Make it hard or impossible for those people to get guns. And I'll bet that stops a few shootings. And if we can just make it less, that would be better, saving some lives. But on the other hand, I mean, there's a lot of bad people with a lot of guns, and there's a lot of guns out there, and people that are going to do this can probably find a way to get a gun. I mean, that's just the world we live in right now. There's so many. If they stopped making all guns today, there would still be school shootings because there's so many guns out there. And if you have to go do a school shooting, you can probably find a gun. So what should be done? And so I hate even the idea of this, but Ted Cruz said we need more armed policemen in schools. I mean, that's probably just a reality. I don't know. I can't guarantee that would have prevented this school shooting or maybe reduced the number of casualties, but it probably would have helped to have somebody there that could take action and do something like that. So it kind of sucks, but I think that's the world we live in too, that there's so many guns out there. We just have to take a defensive measure in addition to some offense. I think both courses of action make sense. So there you go. That's what I'm thinking about. That's thing 2. Thing 3, try to get a little bit more lighthearted here and stop being so heavy. We'll end it on this. The show Severance on Apple TV Plus. Kiki and I finished that. She hated it. She hated it completely because it was just too weird for her. And I get it. It was a weird show. And if you haven't seen Severance, well, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil it in about a minute. So you should stop listening now if you don't want the show Severance spoiled. I won't be there long, so come on back. But there's not much left of this show. I don't have much more to say. This is short and sweet today. No commercials, no funkiness. We're going to end this on hopefully a high note here. But I loved the show Severance. I thought it was weird in all these sorts of cool ways. It was like somebody had the idea of, you know how lots of people, myself included, like the idea that you can just leave work at work and not have to take it home with you. Because so many people do. They take their work home. They never stop working. Even when they're not working, they're still working or thinking about it or stressing about it. And the idea in the show Severance is that your work person, your work life, your brain is altered by a little microchip so that your person that's not at work doesn't know anything about what you do at work, and you at work don't know anything about your life outside of work. It's the ultimate in separating or severing the connection between your personal life and your work life. And obviously this is a crazy idea, but it's pretty well explored in this show. And the craziest thing about it was the ending, where they didn't resolve anything. They didn't tell us what's going to happen. I don't know. Is there going to be a season 2? All of them, all the people in the show got to experience, all the people at work got to experience what their life is like when they're not at work, because they made it happen. And lots of crazy shit was about to go down. It kind of seemed like the penultimate episode, like there should be one more episode to explain what the hell was happening, or or what are the ramifications of all of this, to put a nice tight bow on it. That's the last thing they did. Not at all. No bow at all. There is just, everything is unresolved. And it reminds me of when we play music, and sometimes I didn't know, I'm only a drummer. I don't understand guitar chords and music that well, right? But I do know that the other guys in my band say that when we finish a song, it should resolve. Like it should finish on whatever chord it started on or something like that. And I don't fully understand that. And I don't necessarily believe that every song has to resolve. We've done some songs that don't resolve, and they've been okay. But apparently that's a thing you're supposed to do. And I kind of feel like with a TV show, hope it should resolve. I think you kind of should, like Breaking Bad is the perfect example of a perfect resolution. It may not have been what you wanted to have happen, but it was resolved. It was the perfect ending to a perfect show. And Severance, I hope there's a season 2, because I hope there's a season 2, because I would like to see what the hell happened after all of what happened in the season finale. Anyway, that's it. I don't have much for you. I'm all scatterbrained tonight. I just, I didn't want to go a whole week without doing a podcast. I wanted to talk about these things that are on my mind. Scherzer, it's all about Scherzer right now. Putting the cone on, giving him his meds, making sure he eats, making sure he doesn't tear out his thing, his drain on his wound, keeping him comfortable, lifting him in and out of the car, and hoping that this dog attack doesn't make Scherzer even less tolerant of other dogs. If I was a betting man, though, I'd say that was going to be the result. It's got to change Scherzer. Something so traumatic is probably going to affect him in a big way, just mentality-wise going forward. But chances are it's going to make him a little bit less tolerant. Maybe it makes him a little more fearful of other dogs and less inclined to go on the offensive when they get near him. So that'd be a good thing as a result of all of this. I'm going to get deep on this one time. I wasn't sure I was going to say this, but I will. While I was watching this happen, the pit bull having Scherzer in his death grip, his neck in his death grip, I was 99% sure just watching this that there was no way Scherzer was going to live through this. That the injuries from that dog's death grip on Scherzer's neck was going to be too severe for Scherzer to recover from. Puncturing a trachea, an esophagus, something like that, where he just loses blood or loses air and can't breathe and passes. That's what I thought was going to happen. As I was standing there trying to get this pit bull off, I was also videoing it because I wasn't putting my hands down there in the middle, because that wasn't going to help anything. Instead, we were kicking, and one of the other guys was punching the dog, but we were trying to get him off. But I'm standing there doing all of that, thinking that I'm about to not have Scherzer anymore. Like, he's about to not be in my life. And how does that make me feel? And, well, I think for me, it confirms for me something I like about myself, in that I didn't think I was glad for it to be the case, obviously. But at the same time, I wasn't super distraught. Like, the idea of losing Scherzer sucks, but I think I can deal with it if that happens. And it's not gonna wreck me emotionally. It's gonna be sad, but I think this says something about my mentality. I was already and immediately, even before Scherzer was released from the dog's clutches, I was already thinking about the silver lining on the whole thing, which is a selfish silver lining, but a silver lining nonetheless. I was already thinking about how I won't have to leave him in the car when the car's running if I need to go in a store. Right? Because I'll do that. I'll leave the car on with the AC on while I go in a store real quick, especially, obviously, during the summertime when the sun's out and such. Those are the kind of things I have to do because he's with me all day, every day. It's either do that kind of stuff or he can't be with me all day, every day. And so that's what I choose to do. And it would, not having to deal with that, my life would be a little easier. And I wouldn't mind that. I was already thinking about the benefits, the pros, the silver lining on a horrible, ugly situation. And that's my approach to just about anything and everything these days. These last 6 or 7 years, something has happened in me where I don't get mad, angry, depressed, sad. That stuff is, I don't feel that. And it's not because nothing horrible has ever happened. This was a pretty horrible thing to witness, to be a part of, to deal with the aftermath of. But it's something that I can get through, and I can be sympathetic to the others. The lady that owns the pit bull, a lot of the people that I've spoken to feel very strongly that she should be put down. As the dog owner, it's her responsibility to keep others safe from her dangerous dog, and that it's sad that the pit bull might have to be put down because they feel like she should be the one punished. And I don't know. I just feel a feeling of forgiveness. I personally do think that her pit bull was already listed as a dangerous dog before the attack. Now it's attacked twice, so it's got 2 marks on its record. It probably should be put down because it can't be trusted to do that. And but I don't think the lady who just has 2 dogs and loves them and wants to be with them, but at the same time has a big responsibility to keep others safe from her dangerous dog. But I don't think she should be put through the ringer for this. She should pay my vet bills, and she already has volunteered to do that, and to deal with whatever the authorities ask of her. And she's willing to do all of that, and she feels horrible. I think she feels significantly worse than I do with this whole thing, and I feel bad for her. So anyway, I'm rambling. These are just my thoughts on the whole thing. I am super excited and happy that Scherzer isn't dead and is pulling through, and that I get to care for him, and that I get to still pet him and love on him and see the cutest little face he's got ever, and see those puppy dog eyes, and that that he's still my boy. So next time you see me, you'll probably also see Scherzer and say hi. Anyway, I'm rambling. I don't know what I'm saying. That's it. The show's over. For the closing of the show today, I'm going to play one of my band's songs, People, and it's in its entirety. It's the song you heard at the top of the show. It's the theme song. You may have noticed there's no commercials in this particular episode. Didn't feel like it needed them. So we're going to end this show on the song People, because it's hopefully it's what people need to hear. It's a message of love and forgiveness, and it's a feel-good song by our band. So thanks for listening. Should be back next week with something maybe more fun than this one was. Anyway, that's episode 94 in the books. Enjoy People by my band, To Be Fair. See you next week.
Souls on the line, people of faith, something to live for. But people who hate are just wasting their lives. Black lives matter, you can't just shoot them down. We don't swim together, we will surely drown. The sharks in the water, searching for blood. The only thing will save us is good old-fashioned love. People who love should always love people. People who care put their souls on the line. People of faith have something to live for. But people who hate are just wasting their lives. From their Bible, so people of faith can then make up their minds. But Jesus don't hate, he loves all his rivals. good people.